So I got some feedback in the last video I did about daydreaming, asking for more, and particularly asking about how I manage it with the anchor method. So if you haven't seen the first video, there will be a link for it right there, I believe. And so in that video, I talk about how I use a pencil as an anchor to help control my daydreaming. So in general, maladaptive daydreaming is something I've struggled with my whole life. And the idea of an anchor to kind of guide these dreams or keep them at bay, it sort of started happening to me naturally. And I realized that I was actually doing this a few years ago. So then I took some conscious steps to actually lean very heavily into it and kind of build out my method. So the first thing I want to talk about is finding an anchor that you like to use to kind of let yourself into the dream, let yourself actually dream with. And it needs to be something that is pretty easy to reach for. So the concept here is that maladaptive daydreaming is actually very addicting. The idea of slipping out of reality is super addicting, and you want to kind of get a grip on when and how you do it. In some ways, you can even take advantage of it. So what I do is I have these array of pencils. So this right here is my lighter pencil, and this is the one. I have a few lighter pencils, but this is one of them. And the purpose of the lighter pencil is to anchor to the daydream itself. And so whenever I'm flicking this around, I'm letting the dream play out. I am fully absorbed in it, and I'm living out all the creativity I want. So this could be, reliving moments in movies. This could be me writing stuff, whatever it is. If I'm dreaming it, I try and have this in hand. And then I have a heavier pencil. And so the purpose of this pencil is to take a little more effort when I use it. It still needs to feel satisfying to hold, and it still needs to be a somewhat similar anchor to what you have to anchor to the dream. And I'm not saying you guys need to use pencils, it could be anything. And so what this does is it anchors me to reality. So whenever I feel like I'm slipping into a dream, this one takes a little more effort to play around with and flick around. So typically whenever I'm dreaming, I'm flicking this around. And whenever I'm trying to avoid the dream, I'm flicking this yellow around. So I'll have this on hand while I'm at work, while I'm doing things where I'm trying to be productive, so on and so forth. Where I'm trying to be cognizant and not preoccupied already with like something to do with both my hands, I try to have a pencil ready to go that I can reach. And with that, I wanted to talk about an example of a bad anchor. So you guys will notice this pencil in particular is round. And the reason I point that out is because these are hexagonal pencils, so they have like the rigid edges for me to kind of grip onto, meaning these pencils are actually way easier for me to reach to. Whereas this one, I need to put in a little more effort to actually sort of grip. And you don't want that. You want whatever object it is that you're using as an anchor to be super easy to grab and super easy to play around with. And it just depends on how you want to fidget with things. It could be a Rubik's Cube. It could be, rings or something. It just something that you can very easily grab that feels kind of addicting to you. So that's essentially the quick and dirty of how I manage the anchor method. I still have other methods of managing how I dream. Part of the journey is figuring out what works for you. So I've found that physical exercise and also traveling, living out the dreams are other ways that I end up being able to actually work with my dreams. So I'll talk about those. And as far as this video goes, though, I just wanted to talk about the anchor method real quick. And so if you got something from this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you'd like to see more. And yeah, you guys can expect to see more daydreaming content.